I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion. That Muhammad Ali quote, wow, it really hits on what we're digging into today, doesn't it?
It really does, building those powerful habits.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got some fascinating material you shared focusing on this, well, this compelling idea of a 5 a.m. routine.
Right.
Uh,
As a way to boost productivity, live more purposefully. All inspired by this lesson from a billionaire character in the source.
and the setting, not your average lecture hall.
No, definitely not. Our source puts this whole lesson right at the Taj Mahal.
Incredible.
Yeah, this billionaire figure sharing his ideas with an entrepreneur and an artist. And it all centers around something called the 5-3-1 Creed of the Willpower Warrior.
Okay.
And a three-stage model for making habits actually stick.
Talk about memorable. So our mission here for this deep dive is to really unpack all of that, to pull out the practical stuff, the actionable insights, so you, listening, can get the principles behind it and see how maybe you can implement changes in your own life.
Exactly. We want to equip you with a clear understanding of installing these habits, especially that 5 a.m. discipline, drawing straight from the source material. Make it relevant, make it actionable.
Okay, let's get into it. The billionaire apparently starts strong, saying high performance. It's not really about genetics or talent.
That's his assertion, yeah. It's fundamentally about the habits we intentionally build. We cultivate them.
Right. And he brings in Angela Duckworth's concept of grit.
Yes, straight away. That mix of, commitment, discipline, resilience, just sticking with it.
Perseverance.
Exactly. Her research suggests grit is a way better predictor of long-term success than just raw talent.
And the source mentions this really clicked for the artist character.
It did. Gave him a boost, apparently. Helped him see how to push through creative blocks, self-doubt.
So habits fuel that long-term commitment.
That's the idea. And he even throws in an Einstein quote about facing opposition.
Oh.
Yeah. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Kind of a warning,
That forging your own path takes strength.
Exactly. Inner strength, resilience, fueled by those habits.
So we're not talking about just trying 5 a.m. for a week.
No. The focus is deeper, making it a lifetime thing, a bedrock routine.
And building up self-control, willpower along the way.
Which leads us straight into his 5-3-1 Creed of the Willpower Warrior.
The one on the pashmina shawl.
That's the one. Presented right there at the Taj Mahal.
Ah,
Quite the dramatic flair.
definitely memorable. So let's break down the 5 scientific truths behind excellent habits. What's the first one?
Okay, first, willpower isn't fixed. It's not something you're born with or without.
Okay.
It's a skill, something you develop.
Yeah.
And getting up early, he specifically calls that out as like prime self-control training.
Interesting. Like exercise.
Exactly like exercise.
does.
That's the second truth. Discipline is a muscle. Use it, it gets stronger. He even suggests actively creating small hardships sometimes. Little challenges to build that power.
Weight training for willpower, kind of.
That's a great way to put it. But then the third truth adds a layer. Self-control isn't infinite. It's like energy. Use too much, you get depleted. You need to be mindful.
So you can burn out your willpower for the day.
Potentially, yeah. Which makes the fourth truth critical.
Yeah.
Willpower recovers. You need rest, regeneration.
Okay. Like physical muscles need recovery.
Precisely. And the fifth truth is really empowering.
Yeah.
Strengthen self-control in one area. Say getting up at 5 a.m. and it actually boosts your self-control everywhere else.
Oh, wow. A ripple effect.
Exactly. That's why he positions the 5 a.m. club as this game-changing keystone habit. It creates an upward spiral.
Got it. Okay, so that's the 5 truths. What about the 3 values of heroic habit makers?
Right. The values. First one's pretty straightforward. Victory demands consistency and persistence.
No shortcuts.
Nope. Not about occasional bursts. It's the steady, day in, day out effort.
Makes sense. Second value.
This one hits on integrity. Your ability to follow through on what you say you'll do. That directly impacts your self-respect.
That internal accountability.
Very powerful. And the third value connects private practice to public performance.
Meaning?
Meaning the hard work you put in when no one's watching. That's what dictates how you perform when it counts. Real preparation.
Not just looking the part.
Exactly.
And finally, the one general theory of self-discipline from the Spartans.
Yeah, he credits the Spartans. The core idea, consistently doing what's hard but important, especially when you don't feel like it. That's how you build warriors.
Forge that resilient mindset.
And the billionaire shares his own mantra about embracing challenge for growth, for an iron will.
Yeah.
It all circles back to intentional effort, especially when it's tough.
Okay, wow. So then he uses the Taj Mahal itself as this huge analogy, right?
He does. Such a powerful symbol. Took 22 years.
Incredible. 20,000 workers, 1,000 elephants. The scale is just mind-boggling.
And that's his point. It wasn't just a whim. It required unbelievable sustained effort. He says, ambition without implementation is a ridiculous delusion.
Ouch. But true.
Legendary stuff needs dedication, artistry, and just relentless persistence.
And he connects this back to our own habit journey.
Directly. Acknowledging it's hard. He calls it the parched desert of creative implementation.
Evocative. It's not always easy street.
Definitely not. But sticking with it through that desert, that's what builds what he calls a gargantuan competitive advantage.
Separates the icons from the also-rans.
That's the idea. Staying power.
So this leads into how people develop that staying power, those underlying habits. He brings up Albert E.N. Gray.
Yes, a really key insight from Gray. The secret of success lies in the fact that they formed a habit of doing things that failures don't like to do.
Simple but profound.
It really is. What Gray saw was top performers consistently do the high-value stuff, even when they don't feel like it.
They push through the don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. And that builds self-mastery. Eventually, those routines become almost automatic.
And the source says the artist character really got this, saw his own lack of discipline was holding him back.
Right. A shift from being reactive to being proactive, structured.
And the science backs this up. Neuroplasticity.
Absolutely. Our brains aren't fixed. They can change, adapt, grow all throughout life.
So willpower really is like a muscle we can strengthen.
It is. Think about London taxi drivers.
Oh, yeah, the knowledge.
Right. Their brains physically change. The hippocampus, involved in spatial memory, actually gets bigger because of the demands of the job.
Wow. So our brains adapt to what we do consistently.
Which leads to his pretty blunt statement. You don't have the brain you want, you have the brain you've earned.
Meaning how we use it shapes it.
Exactly. He even mentions neurogenesis growing new neurons. The potential is there. But mindlessly scrolling, probably not strengthening the parts we need for deep work.
Right.
Yeah.
So the message is embrace daily discomfort.
That seems to be the core of it.
Yeah.
That's the price of admission for enduring success, for building that military-grade discipline.
Okay. And mindset is key here, too. He quotes Nietzsche.
He does. About greatness being acquired through qualities, not just something you're born with.
And William Ernest Henley, the master of my fate lines.
Yeah, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Powerful stuff about personal agency, taking control.
He emphasizes that the greats often lived hard lives.
Pushing limits, suffering for their visions. He argues that playing small with your promise demotes our world.
Wow. Don't hold back.
Basically. And then comes that slightly odd exercise.
It's a teddy bear thing.
Yeah. Lying on the floor, pretending to want a teddy bear. Sounds weird, but the point is voluntary discomfort.
Intentionally making yourself uncomfortable to build willpower.
Right. Like cold showers, sleeping on the floor sometimes, fasting. These are practices. Bravery and willpower need practice, devotion.
Okay, so now we get to the framework, the actual how-to, the 3 phases of habit installation over 66 days.
That's the timeline he lays out, yeah. Based on research, approximately 66 days minimum. Phase 1, destruction.
Destruction. Sounds intense.
It often is.
Oh.
About 22 days. This is where you're breaking old patterns, rewriting old scripts. It's hard.
Like fighting against inertia.
Exactly. He uses the analogy of a space shuttle launch needing massive fuel just to overcome gravity.
Okay.
Expect hardship, wanting to quit, negative thoughts. He says the first 22 days are supposed to feel like a mild form of torture.
Jeez. Okay, so if it feels awful at first, that's normal.
That's the message. Difficulty means real change is happening. Valuable change.
All right. Phase 2.
Installation. Another 22 days, roughly. This is the messy middle.
Like renovating a house?
Good analogy. He calls it an interior renovation. You might feel confused, stressed, frustrated. The urge to quit can get even stronger here.
Oh, great.
Yeah. But he assures progress is happening under the surface. He quotes Carl Jung. In all disorder, there is a secret order.
Okay, trust the process.
Pretty much. Your brain is working hard, rewiring, consuming energy can lead to exhaustion. The dark night of the soul, he calls it sometimes.
Deep.
It is. He talks about the old you needing to die for a better you to emerge, annihilating weakness to upgrade to greatness.
Powerful framing.
It is. Stick with it through these 22 days, he says, and unfathomable rewards are coming.
Okay, perseverance is key here.
Yeah.
And phase 3.
Integration. The final stretch of this initial period, another 22 days, this is where it starts to click.
Ah, it becomes more natural.
Exactly. The habit feels more like your normal way of being. You start actually feeling the benefits.
And this brings us to that 66-day total, the minimum.
Yeah, the 66-day minimum, drawing on that University College London research. The emphasis now is steadfast commitment, becoming a lifelong member of the 5 a.m. club in this context.
And he brings it back to private practice again.
He does. The soft and early light of lonely practice, that's where true greatness is measured, not in the spotlight.
Okay, so after the 66 days, what then?
You reach what he calls the automaticity point.
Automaticity, meaning?
Meaning the habit becomes largely automatic. You don't need massive willpower anymore just to do it.
Ah, so that willpower is freed up.
Exactly. That's the leverage.
Yeah.
The energy you spent building the habit can now go towards other goals, other positive changes.
Like pro athletes who've automated the basics so they can focus on strategy.
Perfect example. He reiterates the 22 days per phase, the 66-day mark for automaticity, stressing consistency, persistence, patience, all the way.
And this 5 a.m. habit connects to developing our inner selves, the 4 interior empires.
Right. Mindset thinking, heart set emotions, health set, physical, soul set, purpose meaning.
Cultivating those empowers our outer goals.
That's the argument. An inside-out approach.
Okay, almost there. He offers some final practical tips. Brain tattoos.
Yeah, 3 memorable ones to make habits stick.
Oh.
First, never install a habit alone.
The power of community.
Exactly. Accountability support. Like the 5 a.m. club itself. Bring people with you.
Makes sense. Second tattoo.
The teacher learns the most. Teach the philosophy to others. Explaining it deepens your own understanding, reinforces your commitment.
Smart. And the third one.
This one's crucial. When you most feel like quitting is the time you must continue advancing.
Push through the wall.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's where you forge real willpower, earn self-respect. He throws in a quote from Gerald Sykes about the long apprenticeship needed for solid achievement.
It takes time.
Absolutely. World-class stuff needs time, commitment, sacrifice, patience. Like building the Taj Mahal.
It all comes full circle.
It does. And he ends that section with a strong call. Encode the 5 a.m. habit. Stay with the process indefinitely. Move ahead when you most feel like stopping. Doing so will make you a legend.
Wow. Powerful stuff.
Definitely. So wrapping it up, we've seen habit formation isn't magic. It's a process.
Right. Willpower as a muscle.
Embracing discomfort.
And those 3 phases, destruction, installation, integration, over about 66 days.
That 66-day minimum really sticks, doesn't it? Highlighting how crucial persistence is, especially early on.
Absolutely. It's a clear framework people can use, not just for 5 a.m., but for any habit they want to build.
Exactly. The principles are transferable.
So a final thought maybe for you listening. Think about that power of small, consistent steps, compounding gains. What's one seemingly small habit, maybe waking 15 minutes earlier, maybe reading for 10 minutes, that if you really committed to it starting today, where could that lead? What kind of, legendary outcome could compound over time in your life? Something to chew on, maybe explore more about neuroplasticity, willpower, and that whole journey of mastery.